I don't know if this is even working. I have to check it out and see.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4.
Hi everyone, Tracy here. I'm back. So I have an announcement to make. I have decided that I'm going to go back to the Pacific Crest Trail this year and finish off what I didn't get to do last year. Uh, so I have decided that I'm not going to be starting back at Campo. I instead am going to be starting at really anywhere. My permit is for Willow Springs in Tehachapi. And although I've already done those miles, I feel that I need to build up that endurance again in order to enter the Sierra again. So I'm just going to start back there and do all of Tehachapi, Walker Pass back into KMS as it stands at the moment. So if you remember last year, I ended up getting injured probably just after Big Bear. I had swapped out my shoes for Ultras because that's all that was available in the shoe store we were in. And they did not agree with me whatsoever. It's the first time on trail that I developed blisters and a really bad shin splint. And I have never had shin splints before. Even when I was in the military and doing work marches, I've never gotten shin splints. Yeah, it did a number on my feet. So by the time I entered KMS, I had developed a really bad shin splint and I was limping really badly. I still continued to go onwards into the Sierra, myself and Upa. If you watched the videos from last year, it was just the two of us. And we went the first 45 miles of the Sierra, and we ended up exiting um, into Lone Pine. And that's when I decided that I was not going to go any further. And it didn't sit well with me at all, but I know my limits. And yeah, so I came back and I was really down about that. And you hear a lot about hikers when they finish a through hike experiencing some sort of trail depression afterwards, and it is a real thing. It happens, and I've missed it, so I'm going back. So, if any of you followed last year, you may remember that there was the three of us at the beginning, and we called ourselves the 5-2 crew, and that was myself, Jessica from Oregon, and Anina from Denmark, and we're all the same height, 5'2". So anyway, Anina has decided that she's not going to be going back this year, but myself and Jessica, aka Snickers, we are going back and we're going to be meeting up. At the moment, Snickers has decided to start back at Campo again, and she's already on the trail. So the plan is, like I said, my permit is for the Willow Springs area, but I may end up going out there earlier than that. Following her progression, we're in contact almost every day, and I'm following along her journey. And so I could possibly be meeting her anywhere from Agua Dulce to Tehachapi as it stands right now. That is if she doesn't skip any miles. She does have plans to go up San Jacinto, so I'm not quite sure. And then of course, if you're familiar with the Mission Creek situation right now, she's going to figure out what's going to happen there too. So yeah, so it's going to be exciting if you're looking forward to seeing myself and Jessica, aka Snickers, back out on the trail again. Can't wait to see her and meet up with her and see what kind of adventures we get into going forward. There was something I was going to say about that too, and I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, so that's my plan. And even though I have it in my heart to finish this trail this year, a lot of things a lot of things the trail taught me last year. And that is that a through hike, it's a nice idea, but really the experience is being out there in the wilderness and having an adventure and being around other like-minded people who have the same sense of adventure as you do. And it's not so much about the end of the journey, it's everything that happens along the way to get there. And so that's more important to me this year going out. Also, last year, for some reason, I competed with myself a lot. I'm not one for competing with other people, but I do compete with myself a lot. And last year, I was really pushing myself to do those, I don't know why, but 20 odd, 30-mile days. And I felt that if I didn't complete at least at a minimum a 25-mile day, then I was, I don't know, not up to par maybe. I really don't know. I just challenged myself, and that's probably what brought on a little bit of injury too, those overuse injuries, which are quite common on long distance trails like this. So this year, my goal is, or my plan, and I have to keep telling myself this, is just enjoy the hike. Don't be concerned about how many miles you're going to push out. And ultimately, yes, I mean you do have to push out a certain amount of miles in order to reach Canada before you're in the snow again. But starting in May and starting where I'm starting, there's lots of time for me to get to Canada without, overexerting myself. So I'm going to go out there this year and enjoy it more. And I don't know if I'm going to finish, but you know what? It's not even that important to me anymore. I want to see the Sierra. That's the most important part for me to see, is that. So yeah, I learned that last year. I also learned that ultralight gear is great. Yes, ultimately, having less weight on your back affords you to be able to go a bit further, not get as exhausted, not have to take as many breaks. But you have to also remember that when you're out there for 5 to 6 months, however long it takes you to do this hike, you need to be comfortable too. So I learned very quickly that although keeping the weight down in my pack was always at the back of my mind, ultimately there are some things that I switched, for my comfort. And that being, I swapped out my backpack. I started with the Gossamer Gear GX40, something like that. You'll know which one I'm talking about. It's a little small one. I started with that, and it's a frameless pack. And I should have known better that I actually do need a frame. I know this. And so there's a lot of weight that on my trap area that was causing a lot of pain, and it wasn't comfortable. So I switched it out probably by the time I reached, what was it, Laguna, I believe. I switched out, I had shipped to me a ULA circuit, which I absolutely love. Yay, Team Circuit. So I'm going to be carrying that pack with me again this year. I'll be taking that one, as well as I also switched out my tent. I had Gossamer Gear, the one, and very, very small tent. I mean, it packs up to the size of a Nalgene water bottle, and you use your poles for it for setting it up. So it's very lightweight. But what I didn't like, we had started in March. So, of course, there was still a lot of moisture and snow and wetness and such. And condensation builds up on the one wall tents pretty easily. So, I didn't like the fact that I was being dripped on constantly at night. And I also didn't like the fact that when I would get up in the mornings, you're trying to get dressed, and my arms were always brushing against the sides of the tent that were wet. And so I decided that, you know, I needed something a bit more. So I ended up switching that out by the time I reached Warner Springs, and I got the Big Agnes Tiger Wild UL2. So it's a two-person tent, and although I'm only one person, I actually like the extra room, and I like that I could bring my pack inside my tent with me, and I had lots of room to move around in there. And I also like the fact that I could take the tarp off at night and watch the stars, although I've only did that twice. Um, so yeah, that's probably gear wise the only things I'm switching out. Everything else worked great for me. I have no issues. And my footwear, I started with the Solomons, and I absolutely love Solomons. I had no issues with those at all. I only switched them out because the insoles were starting to wear, And I did buy, I can't remember the insoles I bought that highly recommended. Everybody was wearing them, but it still wasn't feeling right. So, like I said, the only store there, I ended up buying Ultras. They did not work for me at all. They disintegrated pretty quickly. I think I got maybe 100 miles out of them before they were starting to fall apart. And like I said, blisters and the shin splints and just ultimate pain all around in those. So that was like a rookie mistake to make. I know better than switching out your footwear for a different brand while you're on trail, but I did it. So how do you move on from that? Learned from it. So yeah, this year I'll be starting with Hoka's though, because I have been using Hoka's. I'm familiar with Hoka's. I use Hoka's all around here. The gym, the trails around here. So I love my Hoka. So I'll be wearing Hoka's on the trail. And what else? I think that's it. Gear wise, that's probably the only changes that I've made. Some other things that I learned from being on trail last year as well is that hiker hunger never ever hit me. I never developed it. And at one point, I started to think, is there something wrong? How come I'm not always hungry like other people? We would go into town and I still couldn't finish a full meal until I hit Big Bear. When I hit Big Bear, that's probably the first time I finished a full meal. And I thought, yes, finally, hiker hunger. No, didn't change at all. I found that instead I snacked a little bit more during the days. I didn't break for lunch. I didn't hardly take breaks, to be honest with you. And that's probably another thing I'm going to learn to do this year and be cognizant of is, take those breaks and sit back and look at nature and enjoy it. Might not get to do this again. And yeah, so for food out on the trail, I mostly carried. It got to the point that there was a lot of things I could not eat. The things that I would probably eat here in Canada, I found that once I got it on trail, though, I just couldn't stomach it. Ramen. I think I had ramen 3 times. Um, Instant mashed potatoes. I bought them because I like them here. But once I got on trail, it was like gag. I could not tolerate them whatsoever. So instead, I found that what worked for me was a combination of snacks and fresher type foods. And what I mean by that is I started to buy olives and I would drain the jar and put them in a baggie and I would have olives. I would have peppermint. I would have pepperoni. I would have salami. I would have hard cheese. I even bought eggs. So yeah, you can go into the bigger grocery stores. In their deli section, they'll have these two like mini eggs already cooked, like boiled, I guess. And so I would take a packet of them out and I put them in my pouch, and those would be my pocket eggs. And that's a shout out to Kaylee and Graham who are probably watching this, and they're the one that gave me that term. But yeah, pocket eggs, absolutely good source of protein, and I of course would eat those on the first day. They would probably be my first snack on the trail. And I love tuna, so that didn't change. I ate a lot of tuna. And I think at one point when I left Big Bear, I had cooked a pack of bacon and I just drained it really well and patted it dry. And I took a baggie full of bacon with me and I ate it in 3 days. So yeah, there's other things that you can eat other than ramen and mashed potatoes. You may have to get creative, but yeah, there's other things out there. And that's what worked for me. What else did I learn last year? Oh, I think I learned that putting yourself out on social media can be a challenge. Personally, I really don't like social media. Sorry, I got a puppy and she's hitting my hand. She might make a hi, Gertie. Good puppy. Yeah, that's Gertie. Hey, Gertie. Nope, you can't come up here. She's going to be a nuisance now. She's biting my hand. Gertie, she's going through a teething stage. Gertie, down. She's like a little piranha. Oh, no, Gertie. Go over there. Okay, so while Gertie uses me as a chew toy, I'm going to try to talk. So, like I said, putting yourself out on social media, you're really making yourself vulnerable, and you have to be prepared that there's going to be some people, and I'm going to say it, um, I call them cunties. There's going to be some cunties that are going to make comments. And I don't know why they feel the need to do that. Just like I don't know why Gertie is chewing on me. Um, but they just feel the need to be negative and to say something negative and, add no value to the conversation. And, I just want to tell people, and I'm noticing, I'm following actually a few through hikers this year out on trail, and I've seen a few comments that people are making about that, about people leaving, comments and stuff on their page, and they think that that's okay. And, it's a lot of hard work making content. I have a new appreciation for it. It's really not for me, to be honest. I just want it to be hiking, and filming everything is easy. It's the part of having to put it all together and put it out there for you folks to watch. That can be very difficult to do. And, so when people are putting these videos out there and they're taking the time and the energy to do that, they're doing it mostly for their family and friends who want to watch and see what their loved one is experiencing. It's also for those people who are probably planning their own through hike and seeing what it's like. It's probably also, you know, uh, giving those persons who are on the cusp of wanting to do something like this, but they're not sure, it's giving them, like, hey, I can do this too. It's also for those people who are the dreamers, who probably do not have the capacity to be able to go out and do something like a through hike or a big hike. And, they're living vicariously through the people that they're watching. And so, and that's why we do these videos. For myself, it's for my daughter and my granddaughter and my close friends and family who want to see me. And that's the only reason why I'm doing it. Because I actually can't stand seeing myself on film, and I definitely can't stand hearing my voice on film. I don't even watch these videos once I put them out there. I just can't stand to watch them. Um, so yeah, so be easy on the comments. If you don't have something to add value to what the person's putting out there, don't feel the need to say anything. It's as easy as that. Like, don't be a cunty. Some people may get offended by that word, but you know what? It's my favorite word. And last year I didn't use it at all on film. I said it a lot out there. But this year I'm going to be a bit more open about that. I curse a lot. I do. It's just the way I am. And yeah. So the reason I brought that up is because I did have one person, and I don't think I know this person. I don't even think they used their real name or anything. It was just one guy, and he had made a comment after I had come back from my hike, when I ended up ending it and coming home. And they had said, I think the comment was, "You're weak." And so, sort of laughed, but I'll be honest, I was a little bit hurt because I was already feeling hurt about coming home. I already knew that I did not want to have had to come home, and I wanted to be out there. So yeah, that had hurt me that way. But you know what? I'm a 55-year-old woman. I'm going through menopause. Um, I've seen a lot and done a lot in my life. I've had a military career, and I don't consider myself weak by any means. I think that the person used the wrong word because they didn't know how to use their words. But I think what they meant was that I know my boundaries and I know my skill levels. And I don't want to put myself at risk because I have loved ones who want to see me. I have a new granddaughter. And not only that, when we went through the Sierra, it was just the two of us. And I was with Upa, who was the same age as my daughter, like late 20s. And I definitely didn't want to put myself in a situation where if I got hurt or did something, then she would be left having to try to mitigate getting me help, or worse yet, if something happened to her, while we were out there. I just didn't want to be put in that situation, and I already had an injury, and so yeah, I just, at this stage in my life, I know my capacities, my limits, my abilities, and I'm comfortable with that. And Yeah. So I think that that's what that person meant. I think they just didn't know how to use their words, but they felt the need to tell me that. So yeah, that's my plan for this year. Things that I learned last year, and I'm gonna go forward from here. And if I post this video, then I guess I'm leaving myself open to keep posting things so you can follow along. And for those of you who are still following, I'm thinking that you're still following because you sort of forgot that you subscribed to this channel. That's why you're still here. But I appreciate it and thank you so much for watching. And I'm really going to try to be more cognizant of getting videos up this time as soon as they happen. If not, you can still follow me on Instagram under the same handle, she underscore walks through, and through is THRU. And follow me there because I will be definitely be posting stuff every day on my Instagram channel. All right. So, from myself and Gertie, have a great day.